It's the Amanda Seales Show. I'm Amanda Seales, and it's time for another round of voting and venting. It's your opportunity to vent about anything like election, voting, government related, and just get it out of your system. Who's on the line?
Yes, what is the difference between the electoral votes and the regular people votes? How come presidents get elected for the electoral votes and not they count all the votes? Can you explain that for me, please? Thank you. And I love your show. I listen to it every morning on the way going to work.
That's what's up. Thank you. So basically, at the time of the signing of the Constitution, the colonies basically had different populations, and the states were coming down the eastern seaboard for the most part. And so you just had a different amount of people living in these different states. And so they felt like in order to balance it out, they would have electoral votes that would be counted to represent for the states. And so the idea was that these electoral votes would be able to represent for the popular vote and make it a lot more balanced in terms of how many people were putting in their votes towards the president. So for example, like if you have, let's say, a state like Pennsylvania, and it had, I'm just using numbers for simplicity right now, and Pennsylvania had 200 people, but then if you had another state like Delaware that only had 50 people, then they felt like it was unfair for there to be 200 votes going towards the president and then 50 votes going towards the president, and that the states should each have equal representation. So the idea was that you have electoral votes for each state that balance it out. Now, the frustrating part about this, though, is that at the end of the day, it is kind of a very, very unbalanced system when you have somewhere like North Dakota that really do be having 50 people, and they get as equal of a vote for president as a place like California that literally has an economy that is so large, it is equal to like a number of the countries in this world. It's like the 50th biggest economy in the world. And it also subsidizes other states in the union. So like so there's like states like Wyoming, North Dakota, et cetera, who literally have their taxes, their infrastructure subsidized because of California, because they don't have enough economy. So the electoral votes and the popular votes started that way. When we talk about the 3/5 of a human being situation, that also plays into the electoral votes, because the southern states felt like they should have more electoral votes because they had more people. Mm-hmm. And they were like, yeah, but your people that you're counting, they don't get to vote. So like, why would you get more presence in the Electoral College if you don't have more individuals who can vote? And they said, well, we still have bodies. So they said, okay, well, here's a compromise. Your slaves will count as 3/5 of a human. Mm-hmm. And so that's how the southern states got more electoral votes than initially, because if you didn't know this, I mean, at one point in time in the South, the numbers for black people to white people was something like 8-1.
Yep.
So that being said, a lot of people, myself included, feel like this whole policy of electoral voting is archaic, and it is also not considered fair anymore, because ultimately in the beginning, it was only landowning white men that were voting. And so their interests were always basically being managed at the same level. But now we have a number of people's interests that need to be managed beyond landowning white men, and they need to be represented, and they are not in the Electoral College. There you have it.
Reminded me of 10th grade U.S. history class, Amanda Seales. Miss Seales, listening, laughing, and learning with
you. All right, everybody, let's do what we always do, which is a woosah, because we're voting and venting. Let's breathe in. From streets to schools and parks to police, local elections bring the peace. Exhale. So come together, let your voice be known. In local elections, our power is shown. And that's really the moral of the story, y'all. That's really the moral of the story. Like, we talk about this presidency all the time. All the time. But at the end of the day, you need to vote locally. That's what matters most. All right. If you want to vent about voting, call me up 1-855-AMANDA-8. That's 1-855-262-6328. We'll be right back to the Amanda Seales Show and some 60-second headlines.